Hi everyone. So the purpose of this demo is to show how a remote shell for remote code execution can be created via Shellshock through the CGI script attack vector. First, I will demonstrate our bash is vulnerable to Shellshock. Let's start by checking the bash version by doing bash -- version. Okay, so as you can see, we are on bash version 4.2.37, which is included as one of the vulnerable versions of bash, if you remember what Quasi mentioned previously. But let's get some more certainty. To do this, we'll run a simple Shellshock exploit. Okay, so as you can see, vulnerable gets printed to standard output, where that should not happen as our function definition should have ended before this semicolon. So now that we know our system is vulnerable to Shellshock, let's do something more powerful. Here, I have set up my local machine as the attacker and the Apache server running on the VM as the victim. In order for this exploit to work, we need to exploit the CGI scripts the Apache 2 can run on its server. But first, we have to configure our server to allow CGI scripts. And that's done in the apache2.conf file. So what this part does, the script alias, is that whenever a client or a user sends a curl request, they send it through CGI-bin for access to any other CGI scripts. And that gets redirected to our /user/lib/cgi-bin folder, which is where all the CGI scripts are located within our machine. Now, this part, the directory part, creates a rule for the CGI-bin folder. And simply put, it allows for the execution of CGI scripts through the options plus exec CGI part, and the allow override none part ensures that nothing else executes CGI scripts other than our Apache 2 web server. So now that we have CGI scripts enabled, we can create a simple CGI script which will make the exploit possible. So I've already done this for you guys already. So all I need to do is press ls, and you can see that test.sh is in CGI-bin. And this is what our CGI script is. So let's look into it. So if I do cat test.sh, okay. Notice the script must contain a content type with new lines. This is because CGI scripts interact directly with the web server, so it expects properly formatted HTTP responses. In this case, we indicate the response is in HTML. We also include new lines to indicate that the headers have ended. So now I will move on to my local machine and set up a netcat listener, which is where the reverse shell will be sent. So I'll set up the listener on port 54321. And then I will demonstrate the Shellshock exploit. So over here, you see that we're sending a curl get request to our server on port 8088. Notice that we execute the script test.sh. We need this part to be a valid script on our server, as otherwise we'd get an error 404 saying that this script does not exist on our server. Notice we are modifying the header environment variable sent to the Apache server. We do this by using the -h option. Here, we define the function definition, which is important for the Shellshock payload to work. And the rest of the command after this closing curly bracket is the malicious Shellshock exploitative code or command. And what this does is that it redirects the shell within our VM or the Kali VM into our netcat listener at port 54321. So I will be executing this. So as you can see, we can run any command well, not any command, but we can run some commands, like ls or mkdir hello. Oh, so that's denied, so we can't do that. Now suppose we do who am I. You'll see that the user is www-data and not the user that is currently logged into the Kali shell. This happens as www-data is a user that Apache uses by default. This is different from the DHCP attack vector, where you can inject malicious commands where the user is root. This shows the importance of setting up service users with only permissions that they need and not anything more.